So you're getting old. What you gonna do about it? Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer, the video game show that is not going to e-beg you or clickbait you to death. Anyway, let's talk about something serious here. Well, you know, what happens to gamers as they get older? First, let me start off by saying that I am not a medical doctor. I am not giving anybody any medical advice whatsoever. I'm just going to share my experiences and what I found to help through my 38 years of gaming. That's right, guys, I have been gaming for 38 years. Well, what's going to happen to you as you get older? Well, just like any well-oiled machine that's been put through the ringer, parts start breaking down. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be incapable of playing games. But what it does mean, what it meant to me, is that I had to be more sensitive to my health, right? A gaming session of 6 hours wasn't what it used to be, right? And I started having aches and pains, So keeping your health in top shape is of the utmost importance if you want to keep gaming for a long time. Now, there are a few things you can do to help with this. So first, I'm going to talk about the things that are not physical things that you don't have to do. These are strictly gaming related. Number one, if you like playing old arcade games, old button mashers, for example, shooters, you have to go with auto fire, right? You have to go with auto fire as much as you can, because doing repetitive motions as you get older tends to lead to tendonitis, to carpal tunnel, stuff like that. It depends what kind of controller you're using and stuff, but as a rule of thumb, you want to avoid doing repetitive movements in the same movement for a long period of time, just like you would do at work or anything else. Some people that do physical work or work with their hands a lot, it's even worse, when they try to get home and try to game for a long period of time, right? They don't want to do that because they're already in pain. So, number one, go with auto fire as much as you can. Number two, you have to diversify the types of games that you like. I see many gamers just focus, for example, on fighters. That's all they want to do is fighters. Well, when all you do is fighters, you're going to be doing a lot of the same movements over and over again, right? So you want to diversify the games that you play over a period of time. Maybe instead of having a 2-hour session of a fighting game, maybe you want to have only a 1-hour session and alternate with another type of game, right? I can't play Street Fighter for 3 hours anymore without, feeling a little something, or even afterwards being sore. So I knew I needed to do something different, right? So what are good for those? The good old RPGs, or action RPGs if you like. Anything that will, just break the monotony of the same type of movement that you're doing over a long period of time, right? And that's just to avoid issues of just repetitive movement type injuries, right? Another thing you can do is take breaks. Relax, drink some water, stay hydrated, of course, and walk around, get up, do something else. to not stay in the same place for long periods of time. Believe it or not, besides your hands, you can develop back problems, for example, or if you already have a back problem, it could just make it a little worse. Now, these are from my experience. Again, it could be different for everybody, but those are just things that for me have worked over the course of time. About not drinking as much, and I'm not talking about, you know, a glass of wine or whatever. I'm talking about getting smashed, right? Because when you're smashed, you don't do all the things that you would consciously do to keep yourself healthy. You're not going to take the breaks, right? You're not going to switch games. You're not going to be necessarily thinking about your health. You're going to concentrate more on the game, which is what we tend to do to relax. But if you're going to be playing for 3 hours, maybe not the best choice. Now, let's get into the physical aspect, which I think is the more important aspect. There are many wrist exercises that you can do. You'll find them out there on the internet. You know, just to keep yourself loose, not cramp up, make sure you loosen up before playing, take regular breaks, stretch out, and do exercises. You can find these all over the internet to avoid, for example, like carpal tunnel. People that work in manufacturing take breaks, you know, say every 2-3 hours, and do these for about 5-10 minutes, specifically to avoid repetitive movement injuries. You can incorporate that into your gaming session. Wow, what an idea, right? Gaming becomes a little bit of a job when you get older, but it's, you know, it comes with the time. But you have to think about it as, how long do you want to play? I never want to stop playing. You know, I never want to do. To me, my golden years are going to be spent gaming, right? I don't want to be the kind of old person where, you know, the kids feel that they have to go visit me or feel obligated if I don't show up, or I don't want to be calling them. You know, I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's okay. Don't come. I'm good. You know, I mean, can't come for Father's Day. I'm good. If you want to send a gift card, Steam gift card or Nintendo gift card, we're all right. Because I'm gonna be playing, right? Let's start getting into exercises, right? A lot of people that I see, you know, especially people with back problems, never take the route of strength training. A lot of people have a weak back. I suffered from back problems for a long time, right? And they never improved until I started strength training for my back. Does that mean that's the right thing for you to do? No, of course not. You need to consult with your doctor, but I'm just telling you what I did. And that really, I want to say, alleviated my problem 90%, right? I was lifting wrong, I wasn't bending my knees, and on top of that, I had no muscle. I was all flat, right? I was an unfit guy. Check this out. When I was way younger, years and years ago, I used to smoke. You know, smoking and drinking while I was playing games. I mean, how good could you? We are going to beat at Street Fighter doing that, right? So I started walking away from those things and started becoming healthier. Now, let me tell you, if you do those things, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If you're an adult, do whatever you want. But there is a price to pay. You're either going to pay it now or you pay it later. But when it's time to pay, you're going to pay, right? You can't abuse your body at no cost unless you're Keith Richards. Man, that man's immortal. Anyway, but for most of us mortal human beings, it doesn't work that way, right? We can't run ourselves that hard and have no side effects, right? So, if you can, one of the things that helps, it helped me, again, you have to consult with your physician, is I started walking 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes walking a day, that's 6 songs. You know, if you can't motivate to walk yourself for 6 songs, you know, you're not in a place you're going to be able to start, right? But that's where I started, you know, that's all I started doing. And I dropped so much weight without changing my diet, by the way. I did nothing else. I didn't change anything else. I ate the same. All I did was walk. And I dropped a bunch of weight and I felt better, right? So I started there. Then I started the strength training. Now, one of the best things that you can do when you're a gamer is have a strong grip. And you can start with something as simple as this, just doing simple wrist exercises. Some people use the hand grip for exercise. I prefer free weights, right? And I do the weight wrist, and I started off, you start off small. I started off with this, right? I had a trainer, and that's all he had me do. Then you start adding on weights. I started off with 2.5s, right? Until eventually I got to 35, 40 pounds, and I was just curling that. But, having a good grip strength is something that is going to be golden to you, especially as you get older. I wasn't a person that liked running. I always hated running. Cardio has always been the worst, right? So I was never a fan of cardio, so I took to weightlifting, something I did that I was back in high school, and I used to wrestle. That's the way we got stronger. And believe it or not, and you have to detach weightlifting from what you see on YouTube and Instagram, okay? It's sad to say, but the fitness industry is not really the fitness industry. Everyone you see in fitness selling supplements pretty much is taking some sort of anabolic steroids or trend or doing some, site enhancement, all kinds of stuff. They just want to sell you products, mostly products that don't work, right? The only things that really work that I have found, and you can look at the science, is usually just creatine. Protein you don't really need unless you have a crappy diet that doesn't have enough protein in it, right? For example, vegetarians sometimes don't get enough protein, or vegans sometimes use vegan protein, stuff like that. But if you eat all kinds of food, you should have no problems. Whether you're vegetarian or vegan, you should have no problems getting enough protein. But if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to cook and just doesn't eat a lot or whatever, protein would be beneficial to you. If you're building strength, you're building muscle. The other one would be creatine, which I just mentioned, and I use fish oil. That's pretty much it. You can buy vitamins, of course, they always help, but it's always best to take food. Always best to take food if you want any sort of nutritional advice. One place that I would recommend would be, I think it's nutritionfacts.org, and that's run by a real doctor. You can look him up. By a real doctor that researches and looks up research. He looks up research regarding foods and what they can help you with. And there's a lot of them, right? As far as food, I try to eat as many nuts as I can. I hate to say it, it's all what you put in your mouth, right? And that's not to say that you have to deny everything from your diet. Not at all. The way I do it is I diet 6 days a week, right? Sometimes 2 weeks in a row if I'm a little overweight, and I shouldn't say diet. I watch what I eat, and I don't eat certain things for 2 weeks because I like eating, right? I really love eating. But I won't partake, for example, of ice cream or cookies or brownies or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I don't even keep them around because I don't trust myself. If I see something, I'll eat it, right? Like, I'm a big fan of pizza. When I say I'm a big fan, it's like I eat the whole pizza. I'm that kind of person, right? So you want to change your frame of mind. Gaming now is an activity, and you have to call it that, right? Because you're being active. You're not just sitting there just doing nothing. You're looking at your posture, you're doing your exercises, and make it part of your routine. Little by little, these habits will develop, and over time, they will make you a better gamer. If you're already having pains, right? If you're already having muscle pains, if you're already having back pains, and it's the perfect time to start. Go get checked out, have your doctor give you advice, look at the research, change your nutrition, and the fitter you are, the longer you're gonna gain. Remember, don't be afraid to be happy. I put big boys on these ones sometimes.